If you are somebody that has trained for years but actually not made much progress, then I really need you to pay very close attention to what I have to say in this video. I was exactly the same person. I can honestly hold my hand on my heart and say that I have trained for 15 years, maybe a little bit longer than 15 years, but for over a decade, I actually didn't make any improvements, even though I actually trained really hard. But I'll talk exactly why I didn't make any improvements in this video. I'm going to talk about the rules and everything like that. So what I'm going to cover is the mindset in which I had, the previous version of myself, around training. And the mindset most blokes actually have around training. And it being a massive negative impact to how much you actually get out of this time allocation. Don't do's before you even start. And rules to live by in each training session to make sure that you get the most out of everything. For those that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Paul Green and I am the founder of the Longevity Program. I coach men that are injured, men that want to get in the best shape of their lives. And I'm a grappler myself. I've got 7 years of grappling experience and I've trained elite soldiers for the best part of a decade as well. Even though I've done all of this crazy stuff, I still got very minimal return out of my training sessions because I was not aware of the most impactful things that I needed to be doing in order to get the most out of my training. And to sit there and reflect on, I genuinely mean that I didn't improve my strength over a 10-year period because I trained like an idiot, even though I trained hard. It's a demoralizing thing to even think, but it's the truth. And I don't want you to experience the same thing. Trust me, right? When I think about high quality years of training, 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 years of my entire 17-year training career was actually extremely high quality, where most of my gains were made. And what I mean by gains specifically is strength gains, gains in body composition, gains in muscle mass, fat loss. So I'm going to take a real good moment to explain the mindset in which needs to be literally in your DNA, right? And literally the most important thing is this. Your mind will trick you into taking the most comfortable path. We have a lot of options as exercises in which we can choose to develop our strength of our legs, strength of our upper body. But our mind will trick us into taking a comfortable path, whether that is a kettlebell, whether that is doing no lifting and just doing our sport, whether that is doing a rotation exercise with a resistance band. Our mind will trick us into choosing the most exciting, fun option when we know deep down what the strongest people in the world are doing, we are not doing. Right? And I talk about this regularly on the channel. I talk about this, the creature mindset. The creature within our survival part of our brain will always pull us to the path of least resistance. And it's the path of most resistance in which we need to get the most gains. Right? Mindset. Writing down your workouts. There is absolutely no way on this planet that you can remember last week the third exercise you did for the set number 2. Your performance, the weight that you lifted. You need to write this down because it is extremely important. How you perform every day is extremely important. This is number 1, personal standards. It's basically having extremely high standards in how you train. In any endeavor that you have high standards, you will take very seriously. You will write down the most important things. Make sure that you're doing the same training session every time. Because if you're developing yourself in the same 5 exercises, and them 5 exercises are the best exercises for that goal, you are literally mapping out your path to achieving that goal. However, the caveat to that is it might be a little bit boring. However, your mind will play tricks on you and try and tell you to do something like kettlebells or something that doesn't really get you any strength gains. When I say the best possible exercises for the thing that you want, that could take many directions, right? But the only thing I ask is that you think about what the strongest people or what the most athletic people in the area that you want to develop are doing, right? I've got loads of examples for loads of different goals on this channel. But, like I keep saying this, your mind will play tricks on your most comfortable path. The idea of specificity is massive for this stuff. I'm not training using the best possible exercises to get stronger because I'm training sports specifically. You're choosing an easy way out and you're not going to get any results for that. Something that I made a massive mistake on for years. When I say write down the numbers, I don't mean just writing down the numbers. There needs to be more than that, right? And this comes from intent. Intent to improve the amount of repetitions that you are doing, not from an endurance standpoint, but from a weight lifted standpoint. You aspire and have the intent to lift more weight and increase the amount of repetitions. Something I always advise the guys in my program is to, when they get to 10 reps, they add 10% extra weight. And then they'll be sitting in that 6 to 10 rep range for the most part of the first 6 months of my program. But it's always a road to 10. It's like a staircase. Get 6, then the next week they might get 7, then they might hold 7, and then they keep hold. Do you know what I mean? So make sure that you have the intent to lift more weight and more repetitions, and it's always that. It's always that process. Any physical endeavour requires you to be uncomfortable, requires you to suffer, right? So when this happens, it's obviously a high emotion. Pain, being uncomfortable is a highly emotional thing. You've got literally a part of your brain that is designed to oppose this. Because that part of your brain is designed to oppose discomfort and development, the most important part of your brain to achieve this goal or to achieve your physical goal is logic. You need to write down this stuff, because if you don't, you are going to be running off emotions when the emotional part of your brain doesn't want you to get uncomfortable, because it just wants you to go to bed and sleep and survive. The logical part of your brain has foresight, optimism, confidence, looks at the numbers, prides himself in the numbers. I didn't do this for probably 13 or 14 years. I didn't write down what I lifted. I just went into the gym and lifted how I felt. Most people do that. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, most people that go in the gym nowadays don't get any results from their training sessions. They're sat on a machine, yawning on their phone. They're literally making all of that effort to drive to the gym, to spend an hour, 90 minutes in the gym, and then drive home. I can't give these people sympathy because they're in the gym, because I know I was one of them, and I know for a fact that they are wasting their time, and it disgusts me. And what it does do is it motivates me to try and inspire them to train hard. But because they're living in that creature mindset, I know for a fact that they look at how I train and the intensity in which I train and how good my technique is. I know that will piss them off. I know that will repulse them, because they are that set in their ways of being comfortable. Most people go to the gym and as soon as a set gets uncomfortable, they stop. That's pretty much when the set should start. If numbers are not present, emotions will take over. The survival part of your brain, the creature mindset, will take over and go, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Emotions. I will take over from here and I will keep you comfortable, fat and weak. So, to summarise that, don't do's. Don't not write down your workouts. Make sure that you're doing that. Don't train like a weasel. Don't do random stuff. Don't change your exercises based off feelings. Oh, I feel like doing this today. Oh, I've seen this exercise getting done today. Oh, I've seen this exercise looks really good. Oh, I've seen somebody with really good shoulders that does this exercise. No. And also, don't think that extra is better. A lot of people, and I was honestly brutal for this, thinking extra volume is better. No. High quality, intense sets is the best thing you can do. And if you do that, you will literally slash the amount of training time pretty much in half. Extra stuff that is of a low standard is pointless. And I'm speaking from experience. Please do not make the same mistakes as me. So there's the mindset before you get to the training session, right? And how you should view each training session, right? That's prior to the gym session. But I'm going to give you the rules of each training session as well. So now when you're actually in the gym, when you're walking around the gym, you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're picking up weights, you are putting weights on a barbell. These need to be present. And just to give you some transparency, I did this. I did the number 2 thing. I was a paratrooper. I used to be a physical training instructor in the Special Forces Support Group. I trained hard, right? But because none of these other things were present, I didn't get anything any better. I was just kind of training my brain to be mentally resilient and handle being uncomfortable. However, so the only gains I did get was from that number 2. And that's brutal to think that most people don't even do that either. So imagine how bad quality your training will be if you don't even do that. And this is the most commonly missed. Most men, as they start to get older, reduce their training intensity at a time of their life when they need it more than anything. At a time of their life where they are weaker than they have ever been, they need this to be present because it's literally the most important thing. You cannot get any results in any physical endeavour or any endeavour in your life without this intensity. Having the intent to improve your numbers in any endeavour, business, work, anything, right? So let me just rattle these off. The aspiration to have perfect technique. Now, your version of perfect needs to be perfect for you. I'm not saying that you need to look at the best weightlifters in the world and try and aspire to do their perfect technique. No, they have different levels of mobility. They have different levels of strength. They are not you. You need to do your own version of perfect. A really easy way to explain this is you priding yourself in your own technique, not winging it. You're looking at basically trying to achieve full range of motion for the most part. And that doesn't mean that you have to spend 6 months developing your mobility. You can just change the exercise variation to make sure that your technique is even better. For example, most people cannot do a full range of motion squat. So instead of doing a shitty squat or a half squat and developing only half the strength of your knees, change the variation so that you can go all the way down, whether that's elevating the heels, whether that's moving your feet a little bit further forward on a Smith machine. Aspire to have perfect technique. Make sure that you care about your technique because every single rep you do is an investment into the future strength in which you are going to have. Why would you not want this to be insanely high quality? The most commonly missed is number 2. Training close to failure. People don't want to do this. They go to the gym and they want to be comfortable. They want to sit on their phone. They want to have 10-minute rests. They want to be on Instagram. They want to take photos of themselves in the mirror. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your training is, how good your nutrition is. If you do not train close to failure, you are literally wasting your time. I can tell you with absolute certainty. The only real caveat to this is that you need to do a couple of warm-up sets to make sure your muscles are actually ready and your tendons, your ligaments are ready to absorb that high intensity. On my program with the guys, I won't tell them to train close to failure on the first 4 weeks of their training sessions, right? For the most part, because I'm working with 40, 50, sometimes 60-year-old blokes, I'll give them a little bit of an introduction to this. They'll be like, right, okay, let's get the technique, let's get the perfect technique down, let's get the tempo down, and then we add the intensity afterwards. Because they'll still get a lot of gains from just moving the weight to a 70 or 80% intensity. So make sure that you're doing warm-up sets and make sure you ease into this. But once you're there, honestly, now I'm in the gym, I literally look left and right of me. There is not one person in the gym that trains to the intensity that I'm training at. And I don't even think that I'm just doing it right. I'm not like being big-headed or anything. I'm just training right. And I just know for a fact, listen, when I was a kid, when I was younger, 10 years ago, I used to look at people that were training hard in the gym and I used to be disgusted. I was like, well, you don't need to train that hard to get up. You fucking do. And again, linking to intensity, it comes from intent. Intent to develop your numbers. You're not just doing random intensity. You have the intent to look at your workout. I got 7 reps on 40 kg last week. I want to get 7 reps, 8 reps, 9 reps, 10 reps. Then I add more weight. So I'm constantly developing my strength. By developing my strength, I'm increasing my work capacity as a man. So my body can do more with less of the adverse effects. The final piece of this puzzle is tempo. Making sure you, and this links into technique, have full control over each repetition. If you're doing full range of motion, and you've never really trained full range of motion in your life, it's important that you have good control in these new positions. So I'm not going to say that you have to count to 3 or 4 seconds or anything like that. Just make sure that you have pride in your technique, good control, and very high intensity. Because if none of these are there, I didn't have tempo, didn't have perfect technique, I trained close to failure, I didn't give a fuck about my numbers because I changed my workouts every session. Didn't improve. It's embarrassing, and I wasted thousands of hours. Genuinely wasted thousands of hours. Didn't improve my strength, didn't improve my fitness, just improved my body's ability to cope with a little bit of pain. It's embarrassing. Don't do it. I've mentioned this. Repetition is an investment into your future. Don't necessarily look at somebody doing a squat and start doing loads of mobility to improve your squat technique or to improve your flexibility. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying find a variation of the squat, do that well, and then maybe as a side mission, yeah, absolutely improve your mobility. But the movement itself, if you're doing it with full range of motion, will actually improve your strength and your mobility as well. So don't just do a squat halfway down. Find a variation that is going to work your joints through its full range of motion. What's that going to do? It's going to develop the strength of your joints. All the way down on every joint. That could be your elbows, that could be your shoulders, it could be your chest. Make sure you're doing it all the way. High standards. Bonus nugget, right? You've got pretty much everything now, but this is just literally the final piece. 80% of your exercise selection should be full range of motion movements. 20% exercises in which you really enjoy. Because a little bit of enjoyment is actually pretty important. And just make sure though, because this is going to get you the best bang for buck. So for example, on a lower body session, if you were traditionally doing, I don't know, maybe a dumbbell squat, now you can go onto a Smith machine and put your feet a little bit further forward and go all the way down and all the way back up again. Full range of motion, instead of doing half squats, because I'm just maintaining. Absolutely not. If you're maintaining, you're accepting that you're just literally waving a white flag. I'm a man and I've given up. You're in the gym. You've already made the effort to go to the gym. Make sure that you get the most from it. You don't spend much time in the gym. It's an hour and a half tops. You might as well make sure it is the highest quality. 20% exercise you really enjoy. Yeah. So that doesn't necessarily need to be full range of motion. It could be whatever, right? So for a lower body session of 5 exercises, you shouldn't be doing 10 exercises on lower body. But for a lower body session, 5 exercises, 4 of them allow full range of motion. One of them will be one of your favorite exercises. Because enjoyment is great for you being able to stick to it for long enough to get some serious gains. The real war, and I touched on it, but usually on my videos I talk about this stuff in a lot more detail. It's you versus you. It's you doing the logical thing that you know deep down is the highest quality, but you've been avoiding. You've been avoiding it for whatever reason. Oh, I don't need to log my workouts. Oh, I don't need to do a barbell. I don't need to do heavy dumbbells because I'm getting old. You do. Honestly, you do. Because, let's be honest, you've got to ask yourself, how strong were you 5 years ago? How strong were you 10 years ago? How strong were you 15 years ago? How strong were you 20 years ago? Now, if you can ask yourself that question, and you can literally look at yourself in the mirror and not blame genetics, not blame age, the reason that you haven't massively developed your numbers is because you don't give a fuck about them. The real version of you is you versus who you were last week against gravity. You should almost be repulsed by the man you were physically last week. So you look at your numbers, you look at what he lifted, and you are thinking, what a little weasel. I'm going to absolutely dominate the person he was. And you do it. And that's the same every week, right? And what I say, if you're training, if you follow everything I've said in this video, your training quality will absolutely be unbelievable. Literally, I'm talking the gold standard. It couldn't be improved. This is literally why I'm so able to get some amazing results on my program, but also develop my own strength as well. This is what I hire a coach to bring this stuff into my life. Make sure I'm getting held accountable. This is what the best stuff I'm learning off coaches that know more than me. This is the stuff that I disseminate down to my clients, and you lot on YouTube get this as well, right? So I really hope this was useful to you, because this is a fucking war. This war doesn't end. It's not a physical war, by the way. It's a psychological war. It's a psychological war from you going to the gym and actually lifting seriously heavy stuff rather than doing a bodyweight workout in your garden, because the bodyweight workout's easier. It doesn't actually make you that uncomfortable. It's just kind of cardio. The real war is upstairs. It's not, how many reps you can do. It's you choosing to choose comfort, right? That's it from me, gentlemen, right? Hopefully you appreciate the video. Remember, this is fucking massively important stuff, and the reality of the situation is I just don't want you to waste time. I wasted 10 years of my life, and I know for a fact you've probably wasted a lot of years in your life as well. If you want any help with this on a one-to-one basis, the link is in the description to book onto a call for my one-to-one coaching. If not, that's fair enough. I'll see you tomorrow.